I've actually got to run and grab a couple of things. I think I'm about 5 minutes late here, so hopefully you saw me in the chat saying that. This is the January 2025 live stream. Let me go grab my laptop so that I can see the chat better, and then I can catch you guys up on what's going on. Okay, I'll get this set up. Cool. I see 2 people in the chat, Jennifer and TM USA. All right, let me get strapped in here. Also, guys, I'm running on about 2 hours of sleep. I'll explain that in a bit, but if I seem, I don't know, kind of dragging, that's why. All right, cool. There's 10 people on. That's an awesome start. Thank you guys for being here. Okay, so it is the January 2025 live stream, and basically just here catching up. I was able to get a couple videos out last month, so I'm getting a little bit more back on track. But first thing before I forget, I did only get 2 hours of sleep last night, so just bear with me today. A couple days ago, my sleep schedule got all messed up because I accidentally overslept and like really overslept. I was supposed to get up in time for lunch, and when I woke up, just like when I naturally woke up, it was 8 p.m. So trying to get that back in focus. SB, I see your comment says I'm blurry. It's probably buffering. That happens sometimes with the streams. I see it because I've got my laptop over here and I'm watching it there so that I can see the comments better. And I see what you're talking about. But I just cleaned the camera lens. Yeah, so it's better now. So it's definitely buffering. It'll go in and out like that, especially at the beginning of the stream. It tends to do that. Jennifer says, I'm here. Will not chat much since I'm meal prepping for the week and then going to bed. We'll listen though. Cool. All right. Well, I'm glad you could be here. You don't have to in the stream, but when you have time later on, let me know what kind of meal prep you do. Here in the U.S., it's usually, a lot of chicken dishes for protein and, healthy vegetables, stuff like that. I can't cook at all, but that's my dream to someday have my life that together. All right, so TM USA says, hi, what were you doing all night? So, like I said, a couple nights ago, for no particular reason at all, I had stayed up a little bit late, like maybe 5 a.m. when I normally go to bed around 3. And I just took a coma, apparently. When I woke up, it was 8 p.m. And so for the last couple days, my sleep schedule has been really messed up. I tried to force myself to go to bed a little bit earlier last night, but it just really wasn't happening. So I ended up getting like 2 hours of sleep, waking up, trying to rush to get ready to get ready for this. So I actually have a pretty busy day ahead of me. So I'm gonna do this in no rush. We can stay here, as long as we normally do. But after that, I've got an important email to send out for work. I have a report to file, and I guess I have a second report to file. I've got to do an evaluation as well. So that all has to be done before tomorrow. So I'll be up late probably again tonight to get that stuff finished. But yeah, so that's got to get done. And hey, what's up, Ryan? So we got 17 on. That's good. All right, cool. So this is a good time. So also, I'm sorry I didn't schedule this in advance. I literally just thought of it, I think, yesterday. I knew we were getting toward the end of the month, and I just didn't check the calendar to see if it was the last Sunday of the month. Um, I have been really surprisingly busy this month. I knew it would be busy when the guys moved in for the beginning of the semester, and like that was busy, but I thought that I was going to be busy for like a week or so. Um, but I seem to have not really gotten caught up from that. Also, I guess I should turn my light on, shouldn't I? Holy crap, that's bright. All right, I don't know if that made any difference, but the light's on now. Okay, so anyway, it has been actually an incredibly busy month. There's been a lot of stuff going on with work. On top of that, I've had like a lot of stuff going on. I mean, I guess outside of work. Like I'm trying to get a lot of stuff done in my life. One thing, not that this takes much time, but I did volunteer. Illinois State University is wanting volunteers from professionals. Let's be honest. Am I a professional? But they want professionals from Greek life to be guest judges for their Greek awards. Basically, fraternity and sorority life for their campus. They want people from outside their university, but that are involved in Greek life to weigh in. And so I got to wait a couple days till grade reports come in because that factors into the awards. But I'm gonna be doing like 1 or 2 days. Probably not even that, but a couple of forms I have to fill out for that. So I'm doing a little bit of volunteer work, which is the first that I've done in like 5 years. So again, maybe a little bit of a sign that I'm maybe a little bit getting back on track with things. And with me working in Greek life for housing, showing that I have some like volunteer experience at like a diversity of universities probably will help. So it looks like I'm caught up on comments, but we've got a lot of people on the stream. So while I'm waiting for anyone to comment, I'll just catch you guys up on two things. So I think you already know the answer based on my hair. I did not accomplish the goal for this month. Starting at the end of June, I started setting monthly goals in the live streams and then reporting back on them for the next month. Well, I set a goal of making my trip back home. And haircut was part of that, and that obviously didn't happen. So I'll tell you guys what happened. This is the first time that I actually have not met the goal. Basically what happened was I was supposed to go back to Ohio on January 5th. And literally the day before, I was texting my cousin, who's like, like in her 70s, but like we were supposed to meet up for lunch. And she was like, oh, like, hey, it's supposed to snow really bad here. You should check the weather. And sure enough, it snowed really bad. We got it here too, but we got like 1.5 feet of snow. But Ohio was a lot worse than that. And in fact, they shut down the roads completely in a lot of the areas. So I didn't get to go back and do what I primarily needed to do. I planned to go over Christmas break when the guys were out of the house. And then I was supposed to get my hair cut when I was there. And I told my haircut dude, I was like, hey, like, I got to cancel because of the roads. So Yeah. So now I'm waiting on the weather to clear. Like that's basically what I was told. So the people that I have to meet with when I go down there, not about the haircut. I'm just getting the haircut while I'm there. But the people I had to meet with, they're like, yeah, let's wait till the weather clears. Well, we're almost a month down the road from that, and the weather hasn't cleared. Um, the roads are probably passable, but it's still very snowy. It's snowed a couple times since then. And in that area, it snowed even last week. So there's not really a lot that I can do. Gonna have to just wait a little bit longer. I'll see if I can maybe wait till spring break. That'll be mid-March, and see if that'll work. But I will tell you, I'm basically gonna make that my goal for next month. For yeah, between now and the February live stream, I am again going to try to get my hair cut. Now, the way I'm going to do this is instead of trying to go home, I'm literally just going to go to Columbus from here. And when I go to Columbus, I've got stuff that I can do in town. So, like, since I'm making the trip for the haircut, um, I can do some other stuff that I have to do while I'm in Columbus, to kind of make the trip worth it. TMUSA says you should do some searching locally for a good barber. I did kind of like half research. This guy I go to, I've been going to him for years, and he is like incredible. Sometimes he's gone on paternity leave a couple of times, and there's been some other, well, like COVID. There were like other issues where like I couldn't go to him for a while, and I had to go to somebody else. And like most places do like an okay job, but like he is just incredible, and he's also really cheap. It's like $35 to get my hair cut, which I know a lot of you are probably going to say it's not that much, but for my hair it is, because I don't just go to a barber and get it shaved. To get like an actual men's haircut, that's pretty cheap. When I was part of the reason I didn't get it cut when I was down in North Carolina is it was $80 to get my hair cut. So I just didn't get it cut for 7 months. But yeah, I think he's like 30 or 35, something like that. So he's like incredible. It's really reasonable. I know eventually when I get settled somewhere, I'm going to have to do the research, maybe try out a couple different places. But I didn't do that here because I thought I was just going to go over winter break. And then winter break is come and gone, and that didn't work. So I am going to make a special trip to go get my hair cut, but I found a way to make it not that expensive. So you guys know I've been struggling with my credit, and with money, and part of having this job is paying off a lot of past due debt. And because of that, I did get the one credit card that I was on a payment plan for reactivated, and I'm paying down the balance of it. The reason the credit card thing's important is because I couldn't rent a hotel room or couldn't rent a car because I didn't have a credit card. And now that that's reactivated, I can, because you usually have to put down a deposit and they won't take a debit card. So the thing was, I could get a Zipcar because I have a Zipcar membership. I pay like $9 a month for the membership, and then anytime you rent the car, you have to pay for the hours that you have it. Well, I've only done that, I think, 3 times since I've been here, but that would be my option. The problem with Zipcar is that there's a 200-mile limit, and then you have to pay per mile over that. It's 200 miles per day. So if I got the car for 2 days, it'd be 400 miles. The problem is that Columbus is a long way away. I can't look it up on the stream because I'd have to use my phone, but I want to say it's like 400 miles from here. So that'd be like 800 miles round trip in one day. Um, what I'd end up having to do is booking a car for 4 days so that I have 800 miles, and then just keeping it for like 2 or 3 additional days after I get back. Um, it's going to be prohibitively expensive. It'd be like $400, $500, $600. Obviously, I'm not going to do that. So, what I got figured out is now that the credit card is reactivated and now that it's paid down so that I actually have some available credit on it, um, what I can do is I can go and get a normal rental car that's not that expensive. Because the thing about the rental car, I'm probably just going to go to Enterprise. They have unlimited miles. So if I want to drive 400 miles one way somewhere and 400 miles back in a 24-hour period, then I only pay for 1 day rental of the car. And they're very surprisingly cheap. Like, I mean, they're running like a special right now where it's 15% off, but even without that, it's less than $100 for that whole thing. Whereas it would be 120 per day for 4 days in order to get enough miles to do that with the zip car. The other trade-off is the zip car includes gas, whereas I will have to pay for gas with the Enterprise rental, but realistically, it's not going to be that much. Like, it's probably going to be 1 tank of gas there and 1 tank of gas back. Maybe a third tank of gas because you're supposed to bring it back with gas, maybe. But like, much cheaper, basically. And this is just one of those things where my life gets a little bit better as stuff gets paid off, I guess. Basically, the more money you have, the cheaper things are. And that's kind of what I'm finally seeing. Well, I mean, I already knew that, but I'm finally seeing the results of that and actually being able to access it. So anyway, just because the hair is now even longer than I ever imagined it being, and I really need to kind of look somewhat put together, rather than trying to take the time, because I definitely do not have it right now, to take the time off to research a bunch of these places and then go somewhere and hope that they don't do a bad job. I'm just going to go to where I know he does a good job. And then the plan is to go back over spring break. So if I get it cut here within the next couple of weeks, that'll be like February, and then I'll go back in March with the same plan with the rental car. And since it has unlimited miles, I will also go back to where I need to go and try to deal with the thing I need to deal with and all that stuff back home. Hit Columbus either on the way there or the way back, get my hair cut a second time, because generally I used to get my hair cut once a month, or sometimes I'd space it out to 6 weeks. That's the ideal schedule. So this would be like, yeah, about 6 weeks, or, well, depending on when I get it cut, 4 to 6 weeks. And then I can get it cut again at the beginning of summer break, because I am going to have to keep going back and forth. Like, my original plan when I moved out here is that I was going to come back over Christmas break. Could have come back over Thanksgiving break, but I didn't realize it. I didn't realize the guys were gone for an entire week. We used to only get 1 day off. My college only got 1 day off for Thanksgiving break. So I didn't even realize that was an option. But now I realize that I can go home over Thanksgiving break, Christmas break, spring break, and then ideally I can go home after move out is done, so probably early June, and then sometime before move-in stuff starts, so probably late July or early August. That gives me I think 5 opportunities per year where I can do stuff at home that I need to do, go to my storage unit, go to mom's storage unit, switch stuff out, take a day to go in and organize that, I know that's not going to be a ton of time with as much work needs done with those things, but um, it'll be a little bit of progress. And that's the plan for right now. So as far as this, I'm gonna go over there, get a haircut so that it's done. And then if it's a month or 2 months or 3 months before it's done again, well, fine. It won't be this bad. So it'll be a little bit caught up. Just logistically, because that's the other thing too, is I won't know until March if my contract's going to be renewed here. So I don't want to like do all that research, find somebody here, go once or maybe twice, and then have to do all that over again if I have to go somewhere else. So anyway, I hope that made sense. So yeah, so that was my goal. It's also going to be the goal for next month, except last month the goal was to like take the trip home. This instead, it's just going to be like, go get your haircut. TMUSA says, how are the guys you live with? Friendly? Partiers? Have you talked or done anything with your peers from other frat houses? The guys I live with mostly are friendly. I mean, at least at a minimum, they're not unfriendly toward me. I have not been the most social person. I stay in my room a lot, but it's not because I'm trying to be antisocial. It's mostly because I'm constantly working on something, whether it be actually something for work or whether it be me, sort of working behind the scenes and getting my life together. And I usually sit in my room and do that. So the so I don't know. So they are mostly friendly. These guys, they're not big partiers. I mean, they are a fraternity. They do have parties, but they're fairly tame. I mean, they had an ice luge last semester. There's some kind of big event where they said they're going to have over 500 people. Because if it has over 500, it has to get approved by the university. But that's just once this semester. Generally, they're not bad. I mean, they drink. They have some loud music. But I don't know. My opinion is they turn the music off pretty early, like usually by 11 o'clock. I wouldn't say partying is like a big thing. I don't know. I mean, this is like a pretty elite university. Like, it's one of the top research schools in the country. So you have to have pretty good grades and be fairly well behaved to get in here anyhow. But I will say there are bad fraternities here on this campus. Like the house next door is not great. They have a lot of loud parties. Our guys actually even complain about them having parties all the time. I'm trying to think. I know closer to campus. See, I'm technically on campus, but we're like out on that far edge. But like down toward like where the academic buildings are, there's some other Greek houses that I think do have larger parties. Our guys don't, for the most part. And then you asked, have you talked to or done anything with your peers from other frat houses? No. I mean, we have a group chat, but beyond that, I haven't actually like really hung out with them. They kept inviting me to the tailgates because the big thing is tailgating at the football games. I really could not be less interested in that, and I thought about going for the Michigan game. I'll have to tell you guys why in a different video, but I did think about going for that. I didn't, but I don't know. There's there's one guy. He's another house director. He always texts me to hang out, but it just so happens that of the 3 times I've gone to Indianapolis since I've been here, twice he's texted me to hang out on the days that I'm in Indianapolis. I'm pretty sure he thinks I'm just avoiding him at this point, which is actually not true. I just seem to be like doing a lot more work than the rest of them. They seem to have a lot of leisure time. I don't really have that. So they're wanting to like go to movies or go out to restaurants, or somebody wanted to get a pedicure this morning. So it's I don't know. So I guess I'm not, to answer your question, but I'm also not like really interested. There's nobody that is a house director that I feel like has anything in common with me. Um, there's only, so I'm very young for a house director. I'm 39. I know I don't act that, but um, everybody else is like old. I have no idea how actually old they are, but a lot of them are like actually retired people who um, they're doing this as like their retirement job. Um, so I don't really have much in common with them. And there's only 2 house directors that are like closer to my age, but I don't know. They don't really seem interested in. I mean, I guess I haven't like really pushed the issue, but they don't seem that interested in being social, so I haven't really done anything. And to be honest, like I know it's lame to like not hang out with anybody, but I'm so focused on trying to get my life back together that I don't know how I'd have time to hang out with anybody. Um, so pretty much just been doing that. I didn't bring a drink in here. I have to go get one. Um, Somebody's beating on something. Anyway, okay, so SB says, how's your mom doing? When was the last time you spoke? Do you think you'll ever reconcile? I'll have to give you more information about that probably off stream. July was the last time. And I would say that we have reconciled, kind of. Again, I'll have to give you more info about that. It's complicated. Um, and then on the other side of that, I told you guys, I don't know, a month or 2 back, so some girl, it's weird. Some girl messaged me on Facebook and was like, "Hey, is your dad dead?" I'm like, I don't know. Um, and like it was a weird conversation, and apparently she's like the daughter of my dad used to be a college professor, and he's like this girl's like the daughter of students that she had or that he had, and anyway, so they were just like, yeah, we haven't heard from him for a while, um, and anyway, that was a couple months ago, and then she reached out to me again this week with the same kind of questions. She's like, "Hey, have you heard anything from your dad?" I was like, "Dude, I told you last time I haven't heard from my dad since 2019. I don't know why I would have heard from him in the last couple months." And um, I don't know. I I know he was alive for his birthday in October. I can tell that from Facebook, but I keep hearing weird noises. I don't know what that is. Um, so I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. But yeah, I'll have to figure. I know the plan. I gotta do. I gotta figure some stuff out about telling you guys about some stuff. TMUSA, are you getting more settled into your apartment? How's the food? So Food is good because it's free. It's not great. I mean, it's pretty cheap. In fact, they only budget, I think, $3 a day per person. And I guess when you're buying bulk and you're buying for a large number of people, you can make that work. But it's not very good quality food. Um, I eat it for the most part, and it's probably healthier for me than when I was eating fast food for every meal. Um, but it's not, it's not great. Um, but the fact that it's free and how that helps me financially kind of makes up for it. So the thing is, I'm not really getting more settled into my apartment. So I don't know how in depth I want to go on this. So essentially, when I got here, that was the plan, right? Because I haven't had a home since December of 2020. Even when I had an apartment after that, it was like a temporary, I'm only going to be here a few months kind of thing. And everything that's happened after that, I've bounced around so much. And after being homeless for more than a year, when I got this place, that's what I wanted to do. Like, I wanted to like really move in, set up my stuff. I had all these plans, and then at first it didn't happen because I got super busy with work. And then I was doing stuff for wrapping up the lawsuit, and I was doing stuff for, I got my taxes done, and that took a lot of time. There was all these other things that I was doing. And so then finally I got to like Christmas break, and I was like, okay, Christmas break, I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna deep clean everything, because it was really gross in here when I moved in. And I was like, I'm gonna deep clean everything, and I spent a lot of hours doing that. But there's like one big thing. I'm really trying to figure out how to budget my time in the most efficient way. And it is taking me so long. And then I'm also concerned with like money, of like, do I want to spend money on buying things for here to get settled in, and then possibly have to move it? Because, and this is a big thing, we still do not have our lease renewed here at the house. And that's why I keep saying I might have to go, because if we don't get the lease renewed on the house, I'm not going to have a job like coming in May. And if they renew my contract, I can at least, I still have to figure out money for 2 months over the summer, but I can at least have a place to stay and leave my stuff. But when it became apparent after I got here that they were having issues with the landlord, that we were on the last year of our lease, and we weren't getting word about whether it was being renewed, that kind of put a halt on me putting in time and money and effort into getting too settled in. Like, I think that I'm much more settled in a certain way than being homeless. I mean, I've organized all my stuff, and it may be organized in piles on the floor, because there's not like much in the way of furniture in here. Like tax papers, especially this whole back wall back here, it's like there's a stack for each fiscal year. But the fact that that was all shoved into like plastic bags and God knows what from the storage unit that I've now sorted through and gotten ready to file, I mean, that's huge progress. So like, I'm sort of settled in that way. I'm not settled in the sense of like, I don't really, I'm not really like active going and around and doing stuff around in town. Mostly because when I first got here, I had so much to do to catch up that I was focused on that. And by the time that I got some of that done, it was winter. Well, it's still winter, and it was super cold. So there's a possibility, depending on how the end of the semester goes, that I might be able to jump into doing something in town. Like, there's a bike co-op here that I thought about going to. If you volunteer there, they let you use the spare parts to build your own bike. Thought about that, but I'm not sure. Um, there's a art museum I want to go see, and the Kinsey Institute is here, so I do want to go see that, especially because I think it's going to get shut down soon. The state is basically threatening to pull funding from the university if they don't shut it down. Um, so since I'm a psych major and Alfred Kinsey was a professor here, um, before it gets shut down, I want to go see that. Um, let's see. Sucker MC says, I heard JD Vance on an interview today, and his voice sounds just like yours. Is there a Southern Ohio accent? I think I've never heard him talk. I I've seen him on TV, but I swear they never show him speaking. I well, okay, so there's like several parts to your question. He's not from Southern Ohio. That um, he's from Kentucky. He moved to Southern Ohio and like lived there on and off. But I mean, I've never heard him speak, so I don't know what it sounds like. But he lived there on and off. He's not from there. He's from Kentucky. He lived most of his life, like on the East Coast. He went to, was it Harvard or Yale? I don't know. It's like more of a New England thing. And no, there's not a Southern Ohio accent. Even if he was from there, I'm not saying that people there don't have accents. It's just not a distinctive accent from like other regions of the country. He, well, so the place his grandparents lived was in Southwest Ohio. I went to college in Southeast Ohio, and they're like completely different worlds. Southwest Ohio is a lot like the Great Plains mixed with like Detroit, like the Rust Belt kind of thing about Detroit. Um, Cincinnati, most Ohioans do not consider Cincinnati part of Ohio. Culturally, it's Kentucky. And that would be like the major city that he was kind of, the area he lived in was like affiliated with. I did date a girl when I was in college that was from that area that he's from, in Ohio, and I don't remember her having any kind of discernible accent, even when she would come visit me in college. Most people either don't have an accent, they have that like neutral Midwest thing, or they have somewhat of a Southern accent. I would say he probably has somewhat of a Southern accent because of being from Kentucky, living with his grandparents in Ohio, but they were from Kentucky. So that's possible. I'll have to listen to him speak. Maybe I have heard him speak because years and years ago I did listen to the audiobook of Hillbilly Elegy, which, by the way, don't ever mention that book if you go to Appalachia. But if I think he narrated his own book, I think. I can't picture what that sounded like, but I probably have heard his voice. But yeah, no, so, and then in Southeast Ohio, some people don't have an accent. Some people have a very heavy Southern accent. My dad, for example, does. And what's weird is you're saying that he has an accent and that I sound like him, but I've been told like my whole life that I don't have an accent because like I tell people I'm from West Virginia and they're like shocked and they're like, why don't you have an accent? I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, people in West Virginia, it doesn't matter where you're from. It's like a person to person difference of whether you have an accent or not, and it's pretty extreme. Some people don't have one at all, and some people have a really heavy accent that are from like the same town. Um, and then of course different regions of the state have different accents too. Um, but so I don't know. I guess the answer to your question, I don't really know. Um, I guess though, no, the Southern Ohio accent is more like a lack of an accent. It's more like you would hear on the news or like a very neutral thing. Um, oh, EMAC, yeah. The way people from Ohio pronounce O sound is distinctive. So I'm not from Ohio, so don't base that on me. But one thing you have to know, the correct pronunciation of the state is Ahia. It's Ahia. And in fact, in the area that I'm from, we have a conference center called the Ahia House. So it just got standardized when people weren't very good at spelling with O's. But it's not actually supposed to be pronounced Ohio. I had to consciously code switch to saying Ohio when I left Ohio, and like when I was in college, because you can't say that around somebody that's not from that area because they're like, what is wrong with you? Like, but that is actually the correct pronunciation. I'm there's a there's a podcast called Apodlecha, and I am gonna be on it for just like a split second. But I just recently recorded an accent tag for them, and because there's this whole huge bitter dispute about how Appalachia is pronounced. And so they took all these recordings of like where you're from and how you pronounce Appalachia. But the Ohio thing's the same. Now, one thing that people have pointed out to me is, now it's probably not going to sound weird because I'm just going to say it out of context, but oil. If it's not just out of context and I say the word oil, I guess I do, you mentioned the letter O. With that, I do say it very weird. And there are other words too. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but the T in West Virginia is silent. Like, if you ever thought about that, you don't pronounce the T. You really actually don't pronounce the IA at the end of it either. It's just like a Virginia. But yeah, so I've never noticed the O thing about anything else other than oil and Ohio. But again, most of the time when I'm talking to people from outside my area, I'm code switching. I got really used to doing that in college. TMUSA says, you seem to be happy and okay with not socializing at this point. Well, in general, and I'm not trying to be negative, but in general, I'm not happy. Like, I've got so many problems still in life and so many things I'm horribly upset about. But I'm trying to make the aspects of my life better that I can. Because the things I'm most upset about, I can't really do anything about. So I feel like I can make myself overall more happy if I can fix a lot of the other things. So even if I can't work on the main issue, my kind of like raises my overall happiness. And especially having my life together financially, tax-wise, maybe housing, like just slowly getting everything back on track. I mean, it certainly helps with that. Yeah, and I think you're right about the not socializing. Like, I'm not saying, if I started dating or if I made a friend or something, like I'd be totally fine having somebody in my life, but I'm also totally fine, and I think sometimes would honestly prefer not having to entertain somebody. Um, I guess if I met somebody that I really vibed with, I would prefer them to be around, to being alone. But I don't know. I just don't really vibe with the other house directors. And I don't try to vibe with the dudes because, I mean, I could, but I'm only supposed to like fraternize with them to a certain extent. Um, that's not really enforced, but that's the rule. Um, but then it would like kind of be weird if I got like too friendly with them, and then that would interfere with my job. And not that I don't have time anyway. Um, so I'm just trying to focus on me. Like I'm still open to dating, if that happens, but also haven't met anybody there. Although I don't know if that's necessarily on me because everything that I've found online and every time I've talked to anybody about it, it's pretty well known that Bloomington is exceptionally terrible, um, for for dating in general. That said, too, I think I might have mentioned this before. I did actually apply to be on Love Is Blind. Um, I didn't like set out to do that, but I was on this thing and it said that the next season's going to be in Columbus. And I mean, even though I'm not living there right now, I'm technically based out of Columbus. Um, so I went ahead and I applied. They never responded. So I don't know what that means. I mean, I know it means I'm not going to be on the show, but I think most of the time you get rejected at least. I didn't get that. So I don't know what that means. But yeah, cuz I was reached out to by one of the producers and then they just stopped responding. So um I've never watched the show, so I don't know for sure if I would have gone through with doing it because I don't actually know what it is. I figured, oh, I'll go ahead and apply, and then if they contact me back, I'll watch the show and see if it's something I want to do. Um, so anyway, I don't know. I don't seek stuff like that out, but every once in a while, when the opportunity finds me, um, I'll do it. TMUSA says, so what do you think the chances are that they won't renew the lease? Will they find a different house? Will you help them find a different house? Will the fraternity just close otherwise? So, this is something I've kind of talked to the guys about, and I'm not going to go super in depth because there's so much to this, but like I think it's an extremely good chance that we will not have this house next year. Uh, and of course, that's not what I was hoping for when I came out here. The chapter advisor even said to me, he's like, I hope you're here like 10 years from now. We want to get somebody here that's going to stay. And that's great. And I was going to stay for at least 2, maybe 3 years while I was getting myself financially stabilized. But it seems like that's not going to be an option. Um, Basically, what it comes down to is I'm still living here, so I don't want to say this in a way that is going to get me in trouble, but our landlord is, well, I'm going to say what my boss said about him. Our landlord is a particular kind of character. And I don't know exactly how to describe it other than that. Um, Basically, what it is, we've been in this house for 8 years. Like, as a chapter, we've been here 8 years. The lease, we're on the last year of the lease, And they didn't tell me that going into this job. So when I got here in August, I got here in July. School started in August, and it was either in August or September. The landlord sent us a notice of, what was that called? Notice of non-renewal, meaning that he was notifying us that he will not renew our lease at the end of the year. He sent over a lot of reasons why, and being from property management myself, I was like, okay, guys, like, we're not going to be in this house next year. We've got a whole school year here to figure out an alternative solution. And no one wanted to hear it. My boss, the chapter president, we have a different one now, but they did not want to accept that. And I was like, guys, like, that's what that means. That, like, I've worked in this industry for a long time. That's what that legal document means. And they're like, no, 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 we're going to be able to negotiate with him, and we're going to get him to renew. Well, they kept telling me that for August, September, October, November, December, and I've asked every meeting I have. I've asked, and I'm also kind of getting left out of the loop on the whole lease renewal thing. And I keep telling everybody, I'm like, look, we need to plan. Where are we going to go? What are we going to do? I've got to do that for myself, for my job, and for housing. The chapter's got to figure that out. And everybody just ignores me. And I don't know. For some reason, they are all convinced that they are going to get the landlord to renew it, despite the fact that he's already sent us the non-renewal. And I did talk to the landlord like 2 weeks ago. He was here. And I just straight up asked him. And he said he will not renew the lease. He might grant a 1-year extension, but he's not sure. And it's kind of a situation of like, well, okay, that's not even for sure. It would be in my best interest to stay for another year. But then next year we're going to be in the same situation where there's like no stability and we don't know what's going to happen. And of course, didn't even get a straight answer on whether the extension will happen. I also have to consider that in March, I'm supposed to be renewing my contract. We don't know if we have a house for me to renew a contract. If there's not a house, my position doesn't exist. And I mean, I've been trying to plan ahead with this, and I've just sort of been thwarted at every angle. And now it's really coming down to crunch time where I'm like, guys, we are 2 months out from contract renewals. Do we have this house or do we not have this house? I'm super frustrated about the whole thing. Because I feel like I've been proactive and responsible, and I don't feel like anyone else involved has been. So they did tell me there was a big staffing change at my headquarters, and my old boss is not my boss anymore. He's like in another department. But he did tell me in the last meeting that we had, he's like, don't worry about it. If they don't renew the lease, we'll send you to Purdue. Well, that's good. I know that I'd have a place to go. But the problem is, I make enough money here that I can live on. And that's all I need. Like, I just need enough. But if I go to Purdue, I'm not going to make enough to live on. It is less work expected than here, because it's like a smaller chapter, but it pays a lot less too. And I don't know what exactly it pays, but I think probably it's in the vicinity of like $1,400 a month, where I'm making $2,500 now. And I just can't live on that. And I know here I've tried to find like additional work, whether it be a part-time job or doing furniture assembly tasks, and I'm having a really hard time finding anything. Purdue's not going to be any better. It's almost exactly the same scenario. It's a college town, an hour outside Indianapolis, just like Bloomington. Just in a different direction outside of Indianapolis. So if my pay gets cut, I'm not going to be able to live on it. And it seems like I'm not going to be able to find additional work. So while like it'll be nice to know that they'll do that for me, even if my position is cut, like I won't be completely out everything. The position that they would be giving me really is not enough to get by. So I have a self-evaluation that actually was supposed to be done on Friday. I've got to get it done tonight so that it's open before the office, or it's in before the office opens on Monday. And I'm going, and they asked us in that to put in our plans, whether we wanted to be renewed for our contract, whether we were planning on leaving, or whatever the case was. Just before they start contract negotiations, they wanted to see what we were doing. And I mean, I'm basically just going to spell all this out to them in more detail, but I'm just going to say, like, look, I'm facing not having a job. I'm facing not having a place to live. I can't get any answers about what is going on with the lease. Like I need stability, and I'm not getting that. And so I've tried to have this conversation before. This is the most clear I'm going to be about it in writing this, along with my self-eval. But I need them to figure it out and give a very clear, definitive answer, like incredibly soon. And that's just sort of where that's at. I had a one-on-one this past Monday with my boss, and I kind of tested the waters, and I was like, hey, so this stuff's still not renewed. It kind of seems to me like I'm most likely not going to have a position next year, right? And he was like, he didn't really say much. And so like, because he didn't say much, I tried again later in the conversation. I brought it up again, and I was like, hey, just want to make sure you heard me. It's most likely that I don't have a position next year, right? And he kind of didn't really say anything, but he like sort of nodded his head. So that's about the most definitive thing I got. So I don't know. But I'm gonna have to just do something for myself, basically, is what it is. I'm trying to plan. I'm trying to be proactive, and I don't know. The actions of others are keeping me from doing that, and at some point I'm just gonna have to make a decision that's in my best interest. So that's what I'm working on right now. Oh, and to answer the rest of your question, they will not fall into a different house because there aren't any more. All of the Greek houses are full, and the university requires that you have to live in an approved Greek housing facility. There are 7 or 8 unhoused Greek organizations, and that's basically what we'll become. Which sucks for our fraternity because this is the largest chapter we have in the fraternity, and it's the largest chapter house we have. And fraternities without houses, they can't recruit nearly as many people. So it'll probably not be the largest chapter in the fraternity anymore. Not until they can get another house somehow. But I mean, not that any options have arisen for them to move anywhere else, but I've been telling them since August, we need to make alternate plans. We need to see if there's like a backup place we could live. And that just hasn't been done. And then he said, will the fraternity just close? It won't close. There'll just be an unhoused chapter. So the chapter itself will continue operating. They just won't have a house. They'll probably have to meet like at the IMU, which is the student union. They'll probably have their chapter meetings there. But as far as recruitment, it really hurts you to not have a house as a fraternity. So they will definitely shrink in size. It's definitely not ideal, but I tried to prevent this. And then he said, are the self-evaluations in Workday? I have to do those in July. I hate it. It always comes along when you're really busy with work. It's not in Workday. We don't use any kind of systems whatsoever. So everything's just done by hand. I thought maybe they'd at least do like a Google form or something, but they said no. They said just type something up and email it to us. I hate Workday, by the way. I've had to use it at a couple different places that I worked. And I hate using it just as like an applicant tracking system when applying for jobs. Because it's like you have to create an account, a separate Workday account for each individual place that you're applying to. It should be that there's just like Workday and you have your resume saved on there. And then if it's a company that's working with Workday, then you can apply with your already saved resume through their system. But yeah, no, it's just, I just have to type something up and email it. It's basically like, I'm just gonna go through my job description and I'm gonna just comment after on like each of the points of like whether I'm doing this, whether I'm not, how I've done. And then after that, it'll just be like what I said, that evaluation of like, you know, things are really unstable. I haven't been able to get answers. I need to know what's going on with this lease. And it's held us up in like some more areas too, because there's a lot of things that need fixed in the house that they haven't wanted to replace or fix because they don't want to put money into it if they're not going to be here. So there's also a lot of stress in the house because things aren't working properly and I can't get them fixed until we know if the lease is prepared or like, yeah, whether the lease is going to be renewed or not. All right, so that's the end of the comments. I'm going to go get a drink because I didn't bring one in here. I'll be right back. Got my favorite cup again. Oh. Drink of the day, Diet Pepsi. Definitely need that caffeine since I didn't sleep. Whew. I'm hoping, because I'm so tired now, that I can go to bed at a reasonable hour tonight. I still have to get all that stuff done that I mentioned, but I'm thinking if I can get a decent amount of sleep, and go to bed before like 8 a.m., then I'll be up hopefully next week at like reasonable times during the day. Let's see here. Okay, so I got a few more comments. Life at Deshauna. These streams have gotten very boring since the admins block anybody who's not an admin. Nobody's blocking anybody. Yeah, like on my end it says, like it'll say deleted by admin. I haven't seen any of those. So I don't know, and I mean your comment's not blocked. So I don't know what you're talking about. Let me see here. Deshauna, I'm just looking at your. Yeah, so I'm able to check it here on my end. I've got my computer over here. It says in the last year for your channel, on my channel, there's 0 deleted messages, 0 timeouts, and 0 hidden messages. So yeah, none of your comments have been hidden. And I can see your past comments. It looks like you commented twice on the July 2024 live stream, and then once on this one. But yeah, there's no one's blocked you or anything. Miranda says, "Hi Mark, who do you think the Democratic nominee for president should be in 2028? Well, I don't really have an answer for that. We can ponder it, but the problem is, oh, okay, so like, there's nobody that's like really good or that stands out. Like, if you think about the past, you had, for example, Hillary Clinton, who stood out because she was well known, because she was the president's wife, and then she had her own political career. And she was always like kind of, a big name. Then you had Bernie, who I love, but let's be honest, he's going to be like 90 in 2028. Not generally against people running because of their age, but I think that's kind of an extreme. I really don't think that the Democrats have any good candidates. I think that if they're going to get somebody that's actually going to run, it's going to have to be somebody who actually likes that candidate and is not actually just running because the Democratic Party has to have a nominee. Or like with Biden, like Biden was elected for being not Trump. And then it's like, okay, so I mean, he didn't get elected for himself, for like his personality and because people liked him. And I suppose there's enough time that somebody might come along. But as it is right now, any prominent Democrats, I really can't think of any. I mean, there was AOC, but she said some problematic things. And she's become a lot more moderate since she's joined. I believe she'll be old enough by 2028, but I also think that she's a figure that will be extremely opposed by the right. Like, obviously, every Democratic candidate will be, but like, I think her to an extreme will really bring out opposition because they've kind of used her as an example a lot. Um, so I can't really think of anybody. I've thought about this before too. Sorry, I've got like a hair on my face. Give me a second. Okay. Um, yeah, so I really don't have an answer for that. I can't think of anybody. Let me see here. TMUSA, do they block? I haven't. I've only deleted some inappropriate comments. I think there's different levels of permissions for admins, and well, you guys technically are moderators, not admins, but I think you might be able to block people. I'm not sure. But yeah, like it was Deshauna that was saying that. And you can, like, at least on my end, you probably can too. You can click on their profile, and it'll show like disciplinary actions on this channel, and she doesn't have any. So she's never even had any comments deleted. And no comments have been deleted on this stream. Yeah, and so far today I haven't deleted anything. Yeah, nobody has. Jennifer says, I'm done cooking. Made chicken gratin and sweet potatoes. Not a culinary high level, but good enough for work lunch. Have you started training again? I remember you talking about how you used to run. So, okay, I'm gonna have to Google that later because I don't know what gratin is. I've heard of potatoes au gratin. I vaguely know what that is. But yeah, sweet potatoes are awesome, by the way. I love vegetables. There's a few that I don't like, but like in general, I freaking love vegetables. I think people think that's weird, but um, but yeah, sweet potatoes in particular. Like, if I can get sweet potato fries instead of like regular fries, I'll definitely do that. Yeah, you know, someday I'm gonna have my life together, and I'm gonna be able to do stuff like meal prepping. You asked, have you started training again? I remember you talking about how you used to run. I haven't, and it's a combination of things. There's not a very good gym here in this town, and it's so cold here. So even though I do like to run, I hate running on the treadmill. I like to run outside, but I live in a place that's very cold. Like, it's probably 9 months out of the year, it's very cold here. And when it's not very cold, it's very hot. I'm kind of okay with that because I can run during the summer, but I usually run at night. Like, I'll run at like 10 p.m. or later after it starts to cool off a little bit. I do want to get myself back in shape in general. I'd like to run some. Probably not going to do road races again like I used to. Like, I used to do 5Ks, and I was training for a half marathon. Probably not going to do that again, especially because after I run about 8 miles straight, my knees start hurting. So probably not going to do the distance running like that. But what I would like to do is I would like to get the last 20 pounds that I need to lose, because I'm not like super fat or anything. I think I wear my weight well, but I have 20 pounds left that I need to lose to get back to my like regular weight. And I would be able to do that pretty easily with running. That might be a thing for this summer, depending on how busy I am with other things. I know how I am, and I know I can get the idea in my head that I want to go and get back in shape. But I'll run once or maybe twice, and then I'll get busy with other things. And then I'll get depressed because I was like, well, I failed because I stopped. Um, like, that's just the way I am, and I want to avoid that. So, what I want to do is I want to continue getting through the winter with getting things off my plate and getting my life together. And at some point when I feel like it's safe enough that I'm not going to get overwhelmed and I can stick with it, then I'll start doing the running. And once I start running, because I do like it, I know I'll stick with it as long as I don't have other stuff interrupting me. After a few days of that, it kind of changes my whole mindset, because then everything's about running and fitness and eating properly, and I get like really into it. Once I get some of the weight off, then I'll get back into lifting. There is the issue here of there like not being a very good gym, but I'll see what I can do to work around that. So I might actually get a trainer this time. We'll see. But yeah, I don't know. To answer your question, I'm not training, but it's on the radar of things of getting my life together. I have to get some other stuff done in the meantime. But what I am wanting to do is once it gets warm again, I don't know when that's going to be, but once it gets warm again, I'm at least going to get outside. I'm going to walk. I'm going to hike. I don't have my bike here. It's in storage, but I might bike. So like I'll be active. But yeah, I will eventually be able to get back there. And I'm wanting to feel better about myself, and obviously like that's part of that, like getting myself back to being me. Because at the beginning of this, I'm talking about 2012, when all this started. I was training for a half marathon. I was doing road races, 5Ks mostly. I was really thin, like not like anorexic, but like trim, because I ran so much. I would like to get back to that and then start lifting on top of it. I don't want to be like a power lifter, but I would like to build muscle. I've never really had the opportunity to. So yeah, that's on the horizon. We'll say that. Oh, and then Jennifer says I've never blocked or deleted anything. Well, you're welcome to, if you see that. I think you have the power to do that. One thing I'm gonna say, at some point, I've been trying to figure this out. So at some point, I do want to create channel memberships, and this is like probably end of this year, if even then. It's like way down the road as far as projects go, but I was trying to figure out, if I do that, how I could let the moderators have access to the videos that'll be for members only. Because I don't feel like it's right that you guys would have to pay for a membership since you're moderating. But YouTube doesn't have a way to give out free memberships. So what I figured out, I think, is the solution. Is I think that I can grant all of the moderators permission as something slightly different than a mod. It's like a different categorization, and you should be able to see all the videos on the channel, even if they're private or unlisted. So that way you wouldn't have a membership per se, but you could actually log into the channel and see and watch videos that are not open to the public, if that makes sense. Because what will happen is when I have the channel memberships, there'll be some videos that will be they'll be set to members only. But if I set this up right, then those who are moderators should be able to get in and look at those videos. And then that way you don't have to pay for membership. Hopefully that makes sense. But that's, again, I think that's going to be the solution. It's kind of an awkward workaround, but I think that'll work. But that's going to be like several months down the road before that ever happens. Oh, I did apply for a boot camp. YouTube reached out to me earlier this month and asked me to apply for a boot camp that they're running for channel memberships. So hopefully I'm going to learn more about it soon. And then what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of the more personal things, like the public videos will be kind of like more, I guess, less personal things, and then more personal things like, you know, my roommate and all that. Yeah, so anytime that I have to post something, like when I finally post the whole like backstory about what happened with my roommate and stuff like that, that stuff would be more like what would be on the channel memberships. So that, I don't know. I mean, I would think that somebody who has a channel membership would be more invested in me and might enjoy that type of video rather than like the general public that might be more interested in just like a debt video or something like that. Case says just got here. Any update? Not sure what you mean. Update on what? Because we've got a lot going on. Max says you're missing the NFL conference championships. Yeah, did not even think about that before scheduling the stream. Although, weirdly enough, we have more than usual on here, so I don't know how many people are actually watching that. It's not like we have fewer than usual, like if it was interfering. Okay. I just heard people screaming, but I don't know where it's coming from. Bahat Yisrael says college admissions are decreasing dramatically. Are you seeing that occur? It's hard to say. We're not having any problems with recruitment, but I'm at Indiana University, and this school is kind of isolated from that because it's a huge school. It's one of the biggest schools in the country. And it's a type of school that brings in students from all over the country, not just from the state that it's in. So I don't really think that they have a problem with enrollment. I mean, maybe it has gone down, but they get so many students that it hasn't really been noticeable. But we're not having any problems as far as numbers in the chapter. Now, if they lose the house, then maybe that'll start to affect them more. I do know in the history of our fraternity, we have had issues with mostly around the wars. Civil War, World War One, World War Two. Those were the times that the numbers like drastically dropped, and a lot of chapters would close. I mean, I know my chapter that I'm from, it only had one member through the Civil War. Like he kept it open and functioning basically until everybody got back home. Because my chapter was founded in 1860, which is kind of, you know, not the greatest time to be starting a chapter. But yeah. Fresh lights, yes, I am still paying for the storage units. Actually, my mom's I hadn't been paying for like most of last year. I just had to pick that up this month. Let me think about that. Yeah, mom's is due on the 9th. So I've already paid it for this month, but I'm about to go get the money order to pay it for February. So yes, I am still paying for those. That's part of the plan for when I go back is I got to get in there and sort through the stuff. I mean, at least, I mean, getting through that stuff is obviously like part of getting my life together as well. But also there are things of value that, you know, whether it be like a piece of furniture or something like that, I can sell off, and that'll help in getting toward getting everything together as well. My mom did say she's fine with me getting rid of her computer desk, even if I get $20 out of it. That's something a little extra. It's also huge, so that'll make a significant dent in the actual storage area as far as getting that stuff cleared out. TMUSA says there definitely needs to be some new millennial moderate Democrats come forward as leaders. I think it's a combination of things. The people who have been in power have been there like way too long, and they just won't like give it up for anybody that comes after them. But at the same time, there's not really anybody that stands out. Like, not even just millennials, but like anybody below that. I'm not sure. Are there any Gen Z in Congress yet? I think there'd have to be, wouldn't there? But yeah, I mean, whether it be millennials or whether it be Gen Z, there's like nobody that seems like all that special or interesting. 'Cause I think what I was trying to say earlier, and I got distracted, is if somebody's going to have to run either after Trump or against Trump, because he's apparently now going to run for a third term, like if he has this entire like cult of personality against him, or like, I mean, I guess for him, then the person running against him is going to have something like that too. Like, people are going to have to be just as enthusiastic about the Democratic candidate as they are, or as his party is for him. So that's something that, yeah, I just don't know who that would be. There's just not really any good candidates. And I think about it too, and like looking back, I'm like, have we had good candidates in the past? Because I can't really think of any. I mean, we had Hillary, and there was a good segment of people who were excited about her, but she was also like very off-putting to a lot of people too. And then Bernie, who it seemed like everybody liked except for the Democratic Party itself. And then there was, who came before that? Well, okay, Obama. but like, I don't know. I mean, he kind of had that thing going on. And then before him, it was John Kerry, who nobody cares about him. Um, Al Gore, that's 2000. Who was it? 96. Clinton? I don't know. It's just as far back as I can think of. Democrats just don't have good candidates. So, yeah, I can't think of anybody. Um, and I literally can't think of anybody from any of the areas that I've lived in because it just seems like every area that I live in is like extremely right wing. So there either aren't any Democrats or there are like very conservative Democrats, like my Uncle Joey, for example. Um, I don't know why he didn't just change parties. I mean, Big Jim did. For anybody outside of West Virginia, you have no idea what I'm talking about. Big Jim is Jim Justice, the former governor, now senator. Um, and Uncle Joey is Joe Manchin. He's not actually my uncle. I just knew him growing up because he lived next door to my dad's distant cousins. But even though they were distant cousins, we went and we would spend the summer there every summer. Um, so like I know him, I guess. Um, but like yeah. Um, so hmm. Case, actually, thank you for reminding me. I forgot to contribute to my IRA this month. I've just been putting $10. I went over that in my it's either 2024 financial goals video, something like that. I did go over. I don't really have any money to invest because I'm putting all my money toward debt right now, but um, I'm going to be. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna be just right now. I'm putting $10 a month uh, in my Fidelity IRA. I know that's like nothing, but that's all I can afford to do right now. Case says, "Do you think 2025 will be a good year?" I'm not going to curse myself by saying that. I hope it is, but we'll just see. It's only January, so there's a lot of stuff that can still happen. Miranda says, "What about Gavin Newsom or Josh Shapiro?" Okay, Gavin Newsom, I know, is the governor of California. I think that he wouldn't be good for that because there's so many people that dislike him and so many people that dislike, I guess, California in general. Um, I feel like that would be a really hard sell. Um, Josh Shapiro, I don't know who that is. I keep thinking Ben Shapiro, but that's not. I feel like they're very different. But is Josh Shapiro the guy from PA that always dresses inappropriately? I don't know. Then Case says, with many getting deported, is it easier to find a job now? I mean, I don't know. That's only been what, like the last few days? Like, I don't think that was ever the issue, really. Um, I mean, especially in my field, there's not, well, at least here at IU, and that I know of at WVU when I did this before, um, I'm not aware of anybody who was like illegal, or even foreign for that matter, that is in these roles. I don't know. Case says, I think this is overcomplicated. You can just unlist all the membership videos and give out links to all the mods and members. Okay, well, what I could do, I mean, yeah, you might be right. Maybe that's what I should do. So I would still have to, so when you say give out the links to all the mods and members, if I have memberships and I put the video as members, I might be able to find a way to make this work. I'll have to double check on it. If I put the video as members only, obviously it'll already go out to the members. But you may be right that maybe I should just send out a link to the moderators. If that's the case, I'll actually have to get the contact info for the moderators because I have a way to contact 2 of them, but not the other 2. So I'll have to figure that out. But yeah, you're right. I could just send out the link to them. The only thing that I'm wondering about that is if I do it that way, if I set the video to members only, because if I set it to unlisted, it's not going to show up for the members. If I set it to members only, if I send the link to the mods, it might not let them watch it because it'll say it's members only, but I'll have to test that out and see how that works. Case says Canada is following US, putting a cap on international students and visas. So schools are closing useless programs for international students. I mean, that's going to be really bad for colleges because I don't know if you know this, but like that's where colleges make most of their money. I don't know about any particular college. Well, I mean, I do. Like OU, Ohio University. They charge triple the tuition for international students. So they've kind of changed it, but it used to be double tuition for out of state, triple tuition for out of country. So they make a ton of money with those international students. So by doing what you're saying, like they're gonna lose a lot, especially when schools are already in trouble because of the enrollment thing. And then you said, how are you investing your money? Like I said, I'm just putting the $10 a month. Everything else is just going toward debt. I mean, I'm living month to month on a very low actual budget for spending. So I have that 2025 budget with me that I put up a couple weeks ago. That's probably the best way to look at it. And see what I'm doing. But yeah, essentially all I'm actually investing in right now is just that $10, and I'm putting it in, I can't remember the fund name. It's a Fidelity fund. Oh, hey, Well-Behaved Wallet's here. Yeah, that's fine. I was late to my own stream, so don't worry about it. Yeah, hey, I've been doing better about watching your videos to be caught up. By the way, I've been also thinking about, I know we've talked about collabing before. I think I have a topic in mind. I just know I have some stuff coming up the next few months, and I don't want to like commit to doing it right now and then not be able to. So maybe around summer I'll reach out to you and see if you like the topic. And then we'll have to talk about if you and I just want to do a collab together, or if we want to bring in a couple other channels, because there's a couple of other channels that I've been watching. I think you might want to check her out. There's a girl named Rachel Hinckley, I think is her name. I've been watching her lately, and I feel like her content is pretty similar to mine. She has maybe like 1,000 subscribers right now. But yeah, I thought she might be a good fit for that. Yeah. See, I got like for like years, I have not been watching. It might be Rachel Hickey or like something like that. Yeah. Um, I can't look on my phone right now to see. I mean, I'm subscribed to her, but I don't have my subscriptions public. I can't talk today. I don't have my subscriptions public. So yeah, I mean, if you have people in mind, maybe, maybe we can see if that's an option. And then there's like a few, I want to say like maybe 2 or 3 that I'm thinking of. I kind of lost touch with everybody that I was following. And then when I recently got back into looking to see like what they were doing, most people are not posting anymore. Like I was going back through and following up, and people were not posting since like 2020, 2021. Oh, and also Anna from Panda Boss, I think that's what her channel's called. She might be into it. I've been talking with her a little bit, so not sure, but we could ask her if she wants to join. Her channel's pretty big. Okay, so let's see. So I got behind on comments here. Oh, TMUSA says Gavin is out because California's overall reputation. I definitely agree with that, and also because of the LA fires. Emax says I wish Jon Stewart would run. He's not a politician, but I agree with you that he might actually have a decent shot, and it might actually help him that he's not a politician. Because I mean, like, that helped Trump, for example, and other people who have been in lower positions a lot of times will get elected because they're like not from the establishment. Let's see here. Miranda says Josh Shapiro is the governor of governor of Pennsylvania. He was in the running for Kamala to pick him for VP. Okay, I guess I just don't know who he is. I was thinking of a guy from PA who I think is either a state senator, a senator, or in the House. He's the guy that always wears hoodies, and he went to Trump's inauguration wearing like basketball shorts. I don't know who that dude is. TMUSA says there are only certain employers who'd hire undocumented migrants. So from my vantage point, it's more manual labor, blue collar type jobs going to those types, roofers, etc. Yeah, I haven't encountered anybody. Hold on, guys. It is freezing in here for some reason. I'm going to turn the heat up. Finally got the heat fixed, so that's a good thing, because for about a month I didn't have heat in here. It was getting down to below 0 outside, and inside with the heat on it was in the 50s. So that sucked. But we did get it fixed earlier this week. Okay, Case says make the videos not membership only, but unlisted, so anyone with links can watch it. Non-members won't have the links, so they can't see it anyway. It's not ideal, but that could work, because you can make members only posts in the community tab, and I could post the link to the video that's unlisted in the members only community posts. And then also whatever system I work out, send that to the moderators so that they can watch it. So yes, that could work. It's not ideal because I feel like a lot of times people don't see my community tab posts. They do come up in the subscriptions feed, but I don't know if you guys are like me at all. I never go to my subscriptions tab, so I only see it if it comes across my feed. Although if you have notifications turned on, it would give you a notification that it's posted. I don't know. It's not ideal, but that sounds like the best solution so far. So I'm gonna ask some other creators too. I'll see what I can figure out. Not a huge rush right now because I know this isn't gonna happen for quite a few months. And when I do it, guys, what I'm wanting to do is I'm just gonna create a 2-tier system right now for memberships. It's literally just gonna be 2 tiers. It's gonna be a 99 cent a month membership that you don't really actually get anything for other than you'd get like recognized in chat here. Like your comments will have an icon beside them showing that you're a member of the channel. But the 99 cents a month is just like, hey, like this is just to support the channel. It's a very low thing so that like everybody can do it. Because like, hey, I'm poor. This channel is about being poor. I don't expect you guys to give a bunch of money, but that would just be like, yeah, just like so that you could help me. But there would be a higher tier that would probably be around like $4.99, $5, something like that. And that would be the like access to all the videos. And the videos are going to be, like I said, some of the more private ones, more personal ones. As the channel gets bigger, I have to be more careful about that kind of stuff. Hoping that people who are members would be, a little more invested in me and maybe a little kinder in the comments of some of the more sensitive things. And also a lot of the videos that I've had to take down over time for various reasons, like some of the old live streams, some of the really old videos on the channel that are like really bad from like 2017 that are just private right now. I could put those on there. Shoot, that's another thing. If I do it with posting the links, there's not going to be like a catalog of the old videos. I don't know. I got to do some more researching to figure that out. I think your method will work for when I post those videos, but for going back and seeing a catalog of old videos, I'll still have to figure something else out. Well-Behaved Wallet says, summer sounds good. We should invite a bunch of channels. Rachel, oh, that was me trying to figure out what that girl's name is. Yeah, if we're thinking about the right girl, she worked at like a nuclear power plant or something. She's doing fire, which is not really what I'm doing, but despite that, I think she's fighting with a lot of the same things. She and I have been talking about our problems with the student loan people, and I know that she is she's kind of in that same situation with me where she's just working on paying off a lot of debt right now. Oh, and actually, well, I guess I can't tell you guys about that yet. I've got some news, and it somewhat relates to her, but I have to wait until maybe March to announce all that. And then Well Behaved Wallet says she's blown up over the past few years. I'll have to check her subscriber count again, because for some reason I thought she only had like 1,000 subscribers. Um, Actually, now that I think about it, I think maybe she has 4,000 now. But yeah, she has kind of like here, like, and people have said in the past that like this is like a really good channel, like in the sense that like those people who come to the live streams who are like really, kind of connected to me and the channel, like it's a good supportive group, and I think like she kind of has that on her channel as well. So I think that would be a pretty good match. Okay, cool. Well, at some point I'll have to reach out to you. Do you have your business email on your about page for your channel? Because I'll have to probably discuss it with you off live stream at some point. TMUSA says, you mean Rachel Cruz? No. I know who Rachel Cruz is. I'm going to tell you a story about her, actually. And she says, I'm just kidding about Cruz. She's not who you're thinking of. Cruz is Dave Ramsey's daughter. I know you're not a Ramsey fan. Yeah, so, okay. I almost collabed with Rachel Cruz in the past. Okay, that's the story. Okay, let me just back up. In 2018, there was some drama on YouTube. Yeah. Oh, well, okay. So here's the backstory. Way back in 2017, I was approached by a girl, and her name was Freckle Finance. And I don't know if her channel is even still up. I know she doesn't post anymore and hasn't in years. But Freckle Finance was connected with several other like personal finance type YouTubers, and they were all in Canada originally. This group was all in Canada. Freckle Finance found me, and this is when my channel was very small, like maybe 100 subscribers, if that. And we started talking about doing a collab, and she said, well, I'm actually part of a collab group for personal finance YouTubers. And so she had them bring me in, and we did a few collabs together. There is actually a playlist on my channel that's just listed collabs, and so you can go back and you can see some of the channels that were involved in that. Well, so we did that. We did a few over 2017 into 2018. And this group started to grow. Some of the channels were being brought in, because remember, we were all very small YouTubers, but the small YouTubers would bring in a slightly bigger YouTuber, and then that YouTuber would bring in like a slightly bigger YouTuber. And eventually we started having bigger and bigger YouTubers that were collabing with us. And it was kind of great because we were getting to know everybody in the community. We were supposed to have this like big thing at FinCon. Well, anyway, Well Behaved Wallet is in that group. I can't remember if we've collabed previously, but I know that she's in that group, and she's the only person that I still communicate with from that group because of the 2018 incident. So let me tell you about the 2018 incident. So, like I told you, this group kept getting bigger as far as numbers, but also as the group got bigger, they were bringing in bigger YouTubers. So sometime in 2018, there was a girl who did a collab with us, and she was new to the group, and there was also a guy who was new to the group. Now, I was the only guy for the longest time. And then this dude joined. And then after him, I think there was like one more. Anyway, I remember this guy's first name, but that's not the name of his channel, so I'm not going to put it out there. I don't even know if his channel still exists. I've tried to find it, and I couldn't, so I'm assuming he quit. But dude was a douchebag. I remember that he was a high school teacher, and I don't know what this guy's problem was, but he always had an attitude with me ever since he joined the group. And then we all did this collab together. And one of the bigger YouTubers, not the biggest, but one of the bigger ones who did the collab with us, when I watched her video, she talked for a really long time. Like, I want to say at least 8 minutes into the video before even starting the video. Normally, I'm not annoyed by that kind of thing. I mean, obviously, here I am posting like 2 and 3 hour long streams. But I was annoyed by it. And I posted a comment, which I will admit, I should have worded it better, but I don't think the comment itself was that wrong. I mean, because I'm sure you guys have seen it. People do it in my videos, and I don't take offense to it. People, you know, they post a timestamp in the comments and say, this is where the video begins. And that's what I did. And this group lost their fucking minds. I mean, they were hate bombing my comments, downvoting all of my videos, like brigading is what it's called. I was getting so much hate on Facebook, which is where this group is. I was getting so much hate from everybody. They were just telling me I was a terrible person and how dare I speak to another YouTuber like that. And then you guys know Budget Girl, right? So she had just become an admin of this group, like a day or a week or so before, and she got caught up in the middle of all this. And this is what I mean is like they were bringing in bigger and bigger YouTubers. I think she has about 100,000 subs now. And she was like, okay, I gotta talk to the other admins. I don't know what is going on. So anyway, the main person who was behind making this into a huge dramatic deal and stirring up everybody being angry about it when it really wasn't something that I don't think like a reasonable person would even be upset about, and trying to like cancel me basically was this dude who already had like an attitude problem. And anyway, I got so much hate. There's even one girl, I'm not going to mention her name. I know Well Behaved Wallet knows who she is, who started her channel because of me. Like, she told me that I inspired her to start her channel of her debt payoff journey. And like, she even came at me and was like, that's despicable. Like, I can't believe that you would do that. And anyway, so she like unsubscribed and like totally just wrote me off. Everybody in that group like basically completely shunned me. And in fact, it actually destroyed the group. Like, there's been a few posts since then in the group, and there's been some people join since then. The group still exists, but like the entire collab group just disintegrated. Not doing more collabs, not working together. And it was all because this one guy, the teacher dude who had the problem, came into the group, had an attitude problem with me, apparently because I was the only other guy, I don't know, and then saw a comment that was completely benign, made it an entire issue and pissed everybody off about it, basically got me like canceled or like ostracized. And then in doing so, he left the group like within a week or two. Like he popped in there, destroyed everything, left the group, ended up deleting his YouTube channel, I'm pretty sure, a while later. And then like, so now like the whole group, the whole collab thing, that's all destroyed. The group's not functioning. And the reason that this whole thing is a story is you brought up Rachel Cruz, because she was the next person that was supposed to join the group. They had been talking at FinCon. A couple of the people in the group had been talking to her, and she had said that yes, that she would join the Facebook group and that she might do some kind of collab with us. And then Budget Girl, who now isn't, or like had just become an admin of that group. Yeah, that was, she, I think, was the one that was pulling in Rachel Cruz. I don't know. I was really upset about it. I just remember, this all happened, I don't know what Star Wars movie came out in 2018, but I just remember that I went into the movie theater and my phone was blowing up like the entire time. And I didn't look at it until after I got out of the theater. And by that point, everybody lost their minds. Like, Budget Girl just like muted me in the group. She's just like, just don't say anything until I talk to the other admins. Let me figure out what's going on. Anyway, that is the entire dramatic thing. Rachel Cruz was the next person that was supposed to come into the group. And then the group just like exploded before that happened. Yeah. And the Well-Behaved Wallet is the only person that will associate with me after that. All because some guy who was brand new to the group at the time and no longer even exists on YouTube somehow whipped up a frenzy over me posting a timestamp. So, yeah. I don't know what that's about. And you know, there's no point in doing it now, but at some point in the future, I might make a video about some sort of YouTube drama like that, just that I've been involved in, because that's not the only incident. There was also a girl who very early on, like the first year I had the channel, she and I tangentially knew each other. We used to work at the same company, but at different locations, but in the same region. And we knew some of the same people. I made a video and she stole, it was the only video on YouTube on that topic. And so it was getting a lot of views. And then she stole the video idea, like the topic and the title. And it kind of buried my video. Like, my video had gotten a few thousand views, and at the time my channel was so small that was like a big deal. And then she posted the thing that she stole from me and got like 500,000 views or something like that. And it pretty much made my video disappear. So, I don't know. You know, that's probably a years from now thing, but at some point I might post about YouTube drama, because there's a lot of it. So Well-Behaved Wallet, if you're still here, let me know if you remember any of that. You guys think I could get Pepsi to sponsor me? I was watching Debt Over It with Layla, and I've been subscribed to her since she was like a really small YouTuber. Originally, I wanted to have her collab with us, Well Behaved Wallet. Let me know if you think that would be a good option to have her collab with us. I'm just afraid that her channel has grown so much that she might not be interested, but I've been subscribed to her since she was basically starting out. But anyway, I was watching her channel and she got like a multi-video deal with Mint Mobile. So I thought that was pretty cool because even though her channel's still relatively small, she got a pretty big sponsorship. Man, tonight is going to be a struggle. I'm already struggling a little bit in the thinking department just because I didn't get much sleep. I've got those 2 reports to do tonight and an email to send out. I'll have to take a bunch of breaks to get that done. Which, by the way, did anybody here play PUBG Mobile? That's kind of what I do a lot when I take a break from work. I'll play a match or sometimes 2. I think I'm actually pretty decent at it. I don't really know how to play it. I mean, I'm good. Like, I'm good at the game, but I don't understand all the peripheral stuff. I'm not in like a clan or whatever that is. I don't have any friends on there. I just like go in and get matched and play. I've just never taken the time to learn all the like specifics of the game. Okay. Ugh, I had to turn the heat off. It got too hot. Well, anyway, so basically, where things stand right now is we're at the end of January, essentially. I know I was able to get a couple videos up, finally, for the first time in, what, like, years, basically. But there's one thing that's kind of conspicuously missing right now, and that is the 2025 financial goals. I have the goals created. They're written on a note on my phone. But I'm gonna have to actually sit down and film the video. And then of course actually edit it and all that. So I'm not gonna guarantee you guys that it's gonna be up by the end of the month. I feel like February is gonna be an incredibly busy month for me. It's not just work. There's so much going on. All good stuff. I mean, it's progress. I'm getting my life together, but there's a lot going on, and it's going to take a lot of my time. So I think what's going to happen is probably sometime early February or earlier if I can possibly do it. I'll have that 2025 financial goals video up. And then if I dip out and I don't have another video until the live stream at the end of February, then you guys will know that I'm just working on those goals in the background. That's kind of the plan. And then I do have a video planned for probably early March. It'll probably be after the February live stream. But we'll have to see how that goes. So, yeah. So anyway, that's where things are at. So that's where I'm at for creating that video. I'm really hoping to get it done this week. And let me see here. Yeah, that's really it. So we're caught up on comments. We've still got a lot of people on, 23. Let me know if you guys have anything else you want to ask, anything you want to talk about. I think I've covered everything like announcement wise that I had. And just to reiterate, my goal for this month is go get my hair cut. I mean, I look so much better. And I look so much thinner when I have my hair cut. It's going to be great. But just going to get that done. Yeah. Yeah, thank you, TM USA. Yeah, if you're here and you haven't subscribed, please do that. I'm really bad about that myself. I watch channels for a really long time, and they pop up in my recommendations for a long time before I end up subscribing. But yeah, guys, I would love to grow the channel. I would like to do this more, and the more subscribers I have, the more that I can justify doing that. So we'll see if there's any comments here in the next few minutes, and if not, I'll pop off here. Basically, this next month is going to be pretty busy. I will get you guys that 2025 financial goals video. And like I said, then you'll know I'm working on that stuff in the background. February is going to be very busy, and I got a lot of stuff I've got to attend to. I'm going to try to get it done steadily so I don't have to stress out about it. And then I've got that video planned for early March, I think. So yeah, Well-Behaved Wallet, you'll just have to let me know about your, what is that called? Your business email for me to reach out to you. And we can figure out the collab and that kind of stuff. Or you can just email me if that works. Mine is on my business, or my business email is on my About tab on my channel. But it's MarkGoudyOfficial@gmail. So you can do that. All right, guys. Well, I'm not seeing any more comments. We've been on for a little over 2 hours. So I'm going to go ahead and end it unless anybody else says anything. It doesn't look like anything. Okay. So thank you guys. It was a really good turnout today. Thank you all for being here. If you've made it this far, please go ahead and subscribe. Oh, and follow me on Instagram if you are not doing that already. It's just the MarkGoudy. I'd like to have you guys over there too. And I, of course, post different types of content over there. So yeah, pretty much we'll end it here, and I will try to get that video filmed this week and let you guys know what I'm working on for 2025. And we'll do that, and we'll do another one of these at the end of the month. So I'll see you guys then.